Manchester City drop points at the Etihad. They flop, they lose. Arsenal with the opportunity to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 points clear at the top of the English Premier League table. A lack of intensity from the beginning. Ivan Toney showing Gareth Southgate why I should have been on that plane to Doha, Qatar. And what a day for Brentford. Their first win in about 70 years in Manchester. The unbeaten record at home goes for Pep Guardiola's men who were cheating, who were diving, who were absolutely trying every trick in the book to stop themselves from dropping points and handing the golden egg. This wonderful opportunity to Arsenal, to Mikel Arteta, to Gabriel Jesus to go 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 4 points clear at the top of the table today. The world will be tuning in at 7:45 tonight for that kickoff. One thing is for sure, Arsenal will be top of the league going into the festive period. That will not change. That will. By the way, I'm a liar. It could be 5 points. It could be 5 points. I got it wrong. It could be 5 points. My league table didn't update. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 5. I got 5 on it. Listen, and whoa! What a day we're going to have. I want your views. I want your opinions now. It's 5 people. It's one of those mistakes I like making. Man City in the mud. Man City flop. And listen, they deserved it today. They deserved it. 1 time cheating. 2 times cheating. 1 time cheating. 2 time cheating. 1, 2, 1, 2. Cheaters never win, my dad taught me, and that lesson just stayed with me. Brentford thoroughly deserved it today. And I want your views and I want your opinions on this right now, my people. Get hitting that like button for us as well. Let's get to 1,000 likes while we're live. Let's get to 1,000 likes while we're live. And people saying I'm Arsenal. Everybody's Arsenal. Who wants to see Man City do a three-peat? Who wants that, barring Tottenham fans? No one. It's not about me being Arsenal. It's about me being fair. Langan Sweet here says, Pep at it again. No subs. We were shocking. Fair play, Brentford. The one message that's got to be taken out this game for everybody is don't start these games with a lack of intensity. 10 of the starting 11 for Man City today are going to the World Cup. And I felt in that first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, City were playing within themselves. There was an element of thinking about Doha, thinking about the World Cup, putting your country before your club, and they got caught cold. And you know, sometimes, have you ever done this? You have a hard day at work, you get home, you've got to go to the gym, but you get in, you have a little bit of something to eat, and then you sit down, you put on the TV, and you have a little doze, and then you can't get out your seat. You can't motivate yourself to work. That is what Manchester City did today. They started slowly, and they couldn't raise the levels to a point. Foden's goal was great, but it was essentially a thunderbolt. It wasn't great play. Top at Christmas. Oh, Ivan, I love you. Come on, you Gooners. Well, maybe Ivan Toney's going to Arsenal. Maybe that's where this performance came from. Maybe he's going to Arsenal in January, and he wanted to help you out today in terms of your title push. Terry buzzing for his team. I'm buzzing for the Premier League, my guy. I am buzzing for the Premier League. And again, I want to call out a number of pundits and a number of even content creators who have recently said it's a one-horse race. It is a farmers league because of how good City are. 2 things on that. 1, shut your mouths. Shut them. Closed. The most competitive, the most enthralling, the most exciting league in world football. Never put the Premier League down. Hush your gums. Second thing is, told you City were gettable. Told you City could be got at. I told you City were vulnerable at times. I told you City, when Haaland isn't firing, have a few issues. And I'm talking issues in the wider scale are tiny compared to everybody else. But in relation to a title race, they can be gargantuan. They truly can. And today we saw that. It came to fruition. The knowledge that I have of football just bearing its fruits again. I mean, I did predict that City would win 4-0 today, but we'll forget that bit. We'll forget that. I'm only playing, but Stop saying it's a one-horse race. Stop saying Arsenal can't win it. Stop saying City are absolutely invincible, because they are not. That is the fourth time in 14 games, that they have dropped points. Now, do the math. We'll do some quick math here. I want to get the exact percentage, but 4 divided by 14, it's nearly 30%. So 1 in every 3 games. No, yeah, basically just under 1 in every 3 games, City are dropping points. That's a vulnerability in a title race. Basically 1 in 3. Anyway, feel great. Arsenal into the break as league leaders. Wow, is what AMT says. Best refereeing performance this season. It was a fantastic refereeing performance. 2 things on that. Firstly, no, I never want to hear the word Arsenal have conspiracy against them again. The second element of it that's really important to remember is the way the referee handled the diving today. The diving today from City was a disgrace. Firstly, KDB. Yes, there is some contact there. Okay. There is a little bit of contact, but it is so minimal. And he throws himself down. It was a good dive like last week where he goes down instantly. There wasn't a delay in the reaction. But anyone who's played football, I tell you, anyone who's played football, anyone who's been on the tube in London, anyone who's ever been not bumped into when walking down the street knows it's a dive, because you don't fall over with that kind of contact. You just don't. He dived. But the worst of all was Cancelo. Look at the size of that dive. The distance between him and the Brentford player. I mean, I don't know what's bigger, the space between him and the Brentford defender or the Grand Canyon. I'm really confused between which has got the bigger gap. I don't know. I mean, you can actually see Edison through that gap, and he's the other side of the pitch. It's huge. Mind the gap. The cheating today from Manchester City is a disgrace. Now, you won't hear about this in the media. No one will call them out. No one. No one will call them out. No one will say a word about their cheating. Partly because Brentford won and it didn't help them. But they are a team full of cheats. A team full of absolute cheats. There's no doubt about it. And they should get a bigger punishment for that. I want to see Pep Guardiola questioned on it. I want to see him squirm. I want to see what he's got to say about a team of cheaters. I want to see. I even saw Pep on the pitch twice today. Referee did nothing about it. So, yeah, look, a bunch of cheaters, no doubt. And cheaters never prevail. They just don't. Terry, you must be buzzing. This is another 5 they fear Arsenal videos. Well, if you start seeing people slag Arsenal off of the back of this, then that's fear. That's what people do. Like, when they're fearful of something, they attack it. History shows us that. When you fear something, when you don't understand something, when you can't accept something, you attack it. Why are people triggered by me saying people are scared of Arsenal? Because they're being called out for their true feelings. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. People need to respect whatever team is on top, is what Money Mace has got to say here. Unbiased TV says we got Super Mick Arteta. He knows exactly what we need. Kieran at the back, Gabby in attack. Arsenal are on the way to the Champions League. I mean, Arsenal could also be on their way to winning the league. The actual league. Casual Friday, Pep lost it, is what Nit has got to say to us here. Let's have a look at some more of these super chats that have come through today. I'm going to unstar some things. This is 2015-16 all over again. Said it on the Top 6 show last night. By the way, I'm going to say this to the Football Terrace community. Disappointed me a little bit yesterday. You're sharp for the match reactions, which I love. Keep doing it. But come to the Top 6 as well, people. Best podcast on the internet. Every Monday at 6, every Friday at 6:30. Make sure you are there. Massive middle finger to Southgate from Tony. It was an absolute, should have got his hat trick at the end as well. But how great Brentford are going to feel now going into this break. Got those important 3 points after a bad run recently. City, though, they could be 5 points off the top, and they have to dwell on this. And remember, on the 19th of December, they have to play Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. It doesn't get any easier for them right now. Hard times for City. Dan here says, Terry not even hiding it anymore. Just say it. Listen, my bro, I will openly admit I want Arsenal to win the league. But there's a reason for that. And if you can tell me my justification is wrong, let me know. I want Arsenal to win the league because I want the three-peat to be stopped. And the reason I'm happy for Arsenal to win it more than Liverpool, because I thought Liverpool might, is because Liverpool would equal the amount of league titles we've got. City can do a three-peat and be the only and then equal what only Man United have done of doing 3 Premier Leagues on the bounce. So of course I want Arsenal to win the league because I care about the history and the heritage of my football club. The same as every Liverpool fan on this planet doesn't want Man United to get to 6 Champions Leagues or more. The same as every Arsenal fan on this planet doesn't want anybody to go invincible. There are certain elements of the history of your football club that you have to celebrate and fight to keep, because the reason why a club is the best ever in the Premier League is because of the amount of points, because of the amount of titles, and because of the records within it, the real records. Keep your points totals, keep all of that. 3 on the bounce, baby. What would you rather? A league with 100 points or 3 on the bounce? I'm telling you what I prefer, 3 on the bounce. That's where it's at for me. So that's all I've got to say on that one. Terry, you must be buzzing another 5. Sorry, I already put that one up. Sorry, I unstarred it. Spot on, Terry. Never seen so many VAR checks for nothing. I thought the game plan for Brentford on Haaland was excellent. How Tony is not in the World Cup squad. Yeah, I would have taken Tony. I think he's very, very good. I think he's very, very underrated as well. Really wish Tony got his hat-trick. Yeah, me too, Malik. He deserved it today. Lengan Sweet here says, what about Laporte penalty? Didn't Chelsea get a penalty versus United for the same thing? But Terry, you're not going to mention the agenda. Well, actually, there isn't an agenda, because if you go back to what I said about the pool that Man United conceded, I said that it is a foul, but my biggest bugbear is that they're not always given. So I said you either give them all or you give none of them. So I understand your frustration, but for me, I don't think they should be given, because the vast majority are not given. I think it's far more harsh when you give a penalty for pulling in the box, when you go another 3 weeks where no one gets penalized for it. Giving them is more harsh than not. You either give them all or you give none. I'm in favor of giving none and just letting a bunch of men on the pitch fight out amongst themselves. Survival of the fittest and strongest for me. Is it still too early to celebrate? Let's see if Arsenal capitalise this evening. Hard, because everyone thinks of the World Cup. Well, this has got to be the message from Arteta. Arteta has got to be right in their faces in that dressing room. This is what I would do if I was Arteta today. I'd be grabbing Saka by the scruff of his neck. I'd be grabbing Gabby by the scruff of his neck, and I'd be looking at them in the face. I'd say, if you go out there and you play with a lack of intensity, I'm going to sell you. You can I would. I'd be right in their faces. If you don't have intensity, you're done, bro. I'm going to buy someone in January and replace you. Maybe that's a little harsh, but there's got to be intensity. You got to show them this game now. Watch the game. That's why they lost. If City came out and were actually at it from the first whistle, they'd have probably won today. No graphs for another Cancelo performance. Okay. Well, the thing for me is, I've already slagged off Cancelo. Not his performance, but he's diving today. So he's definitely been mentioned. You must have turned up late, my friend. I'm just go back to the beginning. Go back to the beginning. I also mentioned KDB today, by the way. I tweeted about it. Like, why is no one talking about KDB today? 32 times he lost the ball today. If that was a certain Portuguese midfielder, oh my God, the amount of times he lost the ball. It's the most time anyone's lost, any midfielder or attacker has lost the ball in the Premier League this year. 32 times he lost the ball. Awful performance from KDB as well. If Arsenal drop points, the narrative will be how Arsenal cannot cope with the pressure rather than focus on how City is gettable. I think both are true. Arsenal need to... winning today now for Arsenal is every bit as important as the run they've been on so far. Arsenal have to show tonight, away from home, against Wolves, that we can capitalise. Do you know why Arsenal have got to show that? Because that's what people that win league titles do. So it's not either. Those two things are not mutually exclusive of one another. City are gettable. But for that gettability to be punished by a title-challenging rival, you need to show that you've got the ability to handle the pressure and capitalise. Those two things are literally intertwined within a title race. They're one of the same. They're like this. They're basically spooning. I want Man United to win the league. What's wrong with you? No, I want Man United to win the league, but we're not going to win the league. So I'd rather Arsenal win it over City to stop the three-peat. Like, if Man United were in the if Man United and Arsenal were neck and neck right now, and we were both in front of City, I wouldn't want Arsenal to win the league. I'd want Man United. But we're not in the title race, so I can't wish for that, bruv. You know what I mean? When I used to watch the Olympics 100-meter final, I used to want the English guy to win it or the British guy to win it. But we haven't had someone in the final for years. So I was like, I like Usain Bolt, so go on, son, win. Break the records. But if it had been up against a really good English guy, British guy, I would have wanted the English guy to win. It's just how it works. I always want Man United to win, but we're not in the race. So I'd rather Arsenal win it than City for strategic reasons. This is the weakest link. Goodbye. Now it's even more important Arsenal win and get 5 points lead. They should not think of the World Cup. They shouldn't. They should be putting Arsenal first. Always club first. Pep is tactically inept. Reason there's no... He's not tactically inept. I'm going to say that now. I can't say that about Pep Guardiola, that he is tactically inept. He's not tactically inept. He's Pep Guardiola. But his team, there's something missing. There's a little... You ever cook something? Like, I like to marinate my meat. I like to season my meat. I'm not a salt and pepper guy. I'm just not. I got style, right? But sometimes it's like something's missing. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're just missing a certain herb. There's a certain season missing from this. There's a bit of blandness to them this year. Still good quality. They're basically like a nice bit of Wagyu steak that you haven't seasoned right. There's a lack of seasoning at City today. Would Thomas Frank be a good replacement for Conte? Yes. He'd play a much better style of football. I mean, they have to be pragmatic in games like this. And that's what I like about someone like Thomas Frank, is that he knows when to be expansive and when to defend. That is what I like about him as a manager. Just admit you're an Arsenal fan. I can't admit something that I'm not. I'm just being honest. I want Arsenal to win the league over Man City. I don't understand what what's the word I'm looking for? Controversy surrounding that is. I'm unsure. City's tactics have changed to suit Haaland. They have, and today they couldn't get the ball to him. And we knew it was going to change, though. Let's not get it twisted. I said this in the summer. They're buying Haaland. Their style of football will change. It has to change because you will also become predictable. But the problem is when you become a team where there's a major focal point and that's your main source of goals, the ball has to come into him. The team cuts that off. It's harder to score the goals. Simple as that. Plus, you had today a situation where KDB had a shocker. You had a situation today where Cancelo was awful. You had a situation today where the defense was really poor. And there was a lack of intensity from the first whistle. So it was almost like a perfect storm for failure. Haaland, who? Yeah, listen, Brentford are one of the only teams this year that can say we kept Haaland quiet at the Etihad as well. That's an achievement. That is something to dine out on. That is something to dine out on. You know what I'm saying? And I know what Man City fans will be saying today. They'll be saying the same as Tony did on holiday when he was with that girl. They'll be saying Brentford. That's what they'll be saying. Right, I'm going to bring out KJ and man like Brandon to have a little chat with me now. Brandon, obviously being an Arsenal fan as well. We're going to put the link. KJ is going to share the link in the live comment section as well. But how many likes are we on right now, though? This is important to me. What are we on? Nearly 1,000. Let's get that like button smashed right now. Let's get past 1,000 while we're live. Over 5,000 people watching. One of the biggest Man City match reaction ever. So thank you for making us the #1 place in the world for Man City match reactions. Thank you so much. Very honored every day that you all come here to support me, to support the Terrace, to support KJ, Javern, and the Football Terrace family. So thank you very, very much indeed. It means a great deal. What does this super chat say? Yes, Terry, what you know, flavors and cooking, meat and 2 veg, man. Big up. Well, yeah, I do have meat and 2 veg, but it's how you prepare it, my friend. You know, like I look at it, how I handle relationships. Every man essentially is the same. You know, they have meat and 2 veg, but it's how you use it, my friend. And I am just very, very blessed to know how to use these things in a very particular way that makes the taste so delicious. And I am still talking about food. Just in case everybody's wondering, I am still talking about food. I've just got skills. All Arsenal fans, lol. I don't care who's watching. I just care they're here. Do you know what I mean? I just care they're here. It is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? KJ and Brandon out with me now. Hit the like and the share button, people. Let's do this.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big swings, bitch, hand me.
Welcome to the show, people. I'm going to go to Brandon first of all. Massive win for Arsenal, even though you didn't play. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Mate, I feel like a gal in that video. I'll get up and do a jig, mate. To be honest with you, I've never really watched Manchester City, like been so invested in Manchester City games. And you're right in what you said. Brentford fully deserved it today. And apart from the talking point of Arsenal could potentially go 5 points clear, I don't want to read too much into the result that's just happened, because we still got to do our job yet. Otherwise, it doesn't really mean too much. And it's a great opportunity. And to be honest with you, are we going to get a better opportunity to go 5 points clear of City? Probably not. So we must do our job tonight. We must do our job. However, Gareth Southgate, you're a wallad, mate. An absolute wallad. How are you not putting Ivan Toney on that plane? Seriously. And not only that, all them Arsenal fans as well that are out there that laughed at me when I said at the back end of last season we should sign Ivan Toney. How about that? Yeah? Because I'm telling you now, this boy, we should go out and get him in January. He's exactly the type of player that we need to provide competition for Gabriel Jesus up front. And he's proven time and time again why he's a good player in what we would argue is being one of the sides in the Premier League that's got the least amount of quality. So, you know, I'm buzzing though, Terry. I really am buzzing. I can't believe that Brentford went and nicked that 2-1. Should have been 3-1 in the end. And yeah, like I say, we just got to do our job tonight. We really have. And like you said earlier, Arteta needs to be giving these players a message saying, look, forget World Cup for now. It's time. The stars are aligning. It's time. We can go 5 points clear of Manchester City at the top of the table. And obviously, Terry, I was obviously right in what I said last week about backing the manager and backing the players and that. So I'll take that.
No, absolutely. I wanted to ask KJ, what went wrong for City today? In terms of the game, why do you think they were so lackadaisical, so poor on the ball? Why was it? Why were they just so bad? Because they were bad today. What do you think it was?
They have got a new person that is now seen as the focal point. Whereas for the past 2-3 years, it was a team effort of goals. Spread the goals around. You'll get 15, you'll get 10, you'll get 15 there, you'll get 10 here, 12. You know what I mean? They'll spread it around. Like they may not have the top goal scorer in the league, but they'll have like five players on 10 goals. You know what I mean? That still equates to 50. That's still, as the total, more than the top goal scorer in the league. Now they've got a guy who's supposed to be the guy that gets all their goals, and granted, he's got a ridiculous amount of numbers. But today's where you don't want just a focal point, and that's the only person that can get us goals. You want to be able to spread it around, and it was just too much focus on Haaland. They're like Foden trying to play at the Haaland, De Bruyne obviously doing his job trying to get the Haaland, and within that, it was just wasteful ball after wasteful ball after wasteful ball. Haaland didn't play well. He didn't have any space to do anything. He was falling all over the pitch. This is, to be fair, this is what people thought Haaland would be like in the Prem first coming in. He's proving us wrong, but these are the performances people were thinking would happen. So if this is happening, the Man City players need to find a way to switch it up. Pep needs to find a way to switch it up. Maybe don't be fearful of taking him off. Yes, people will be like, you need a goal, why take off Haaland? But clearly it's not working. Switch it up. Players take responsibility. I see at United when Ronaldo play. Players like passing responsibility to Ronaldo. Give it to him and he will get us the goal. And if it doesn't work, then it's not my fault. No, Kevin De Bruyne, that was a Bruno Fernandes performance today, but no one want to chat about it. It was a horrible performance from Kevin De Bruyne. And I know he's got credit in the bank. I know he's one of the best Premier League midfielders we've ever seen, but we've got to call it how it is on the day. He was terrible. So was most of the Man City players. And they need to stop relying on one guy to score goals again. Go back to what you know.
Do you know what? I slightly disagree. I don't think it was that Man City was that poor. I just think Brentford defended that well. That's what I think personally. I get what you're saying about
credits to Brentford.
Yeah, 100%. Because I get what you're saying about they was looking for Haaland an awful lot, but I also think as well that they did have quite a few shots from outside of the box, and that's because of how well that Brentford were defending their area and their box, the way that they was getting back. And I just think that was an exceptional performance by Brentford today. And I think if you was to play another 20, 25 minutes, I still don't think Manchester City would have scored because Brentford were that good defensively today.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to take away from Brentford. Brentford were very good, as you stated, but I think KJ is right. They were just very predictable today, and I think with KDB, it doesn't take like I still rank him in my top 5 Premier League midfielders of all time. That doesn't change, but we are talking about an individual game, and sometimes football fans struggle to do that. It's almost, well, I'm not going to criticize KDB's performance because KDB is generally so good. That for me isn't how it works or how it should work. And I am going to criticize him today because his passing was awful. His distribution was awful. His decision making was poor. That didn't help the situation with Erling Haaland. I mean, there was actually a great bit of play that Haaland was involved with where he sets up Gundogan, who should have got the shot on target, but he skyrocketed it over. And you can see the longer the game went on, the more the Arsenal fear complex took hold of them. They were missing those chances. And as I say, the Arsenal fear complex is real, and it's getting to this Man City team. It's breaking them a little bit, and they struggled massively. And the question now is,
don't look so frustrated, KJ. You look so frustrated.
No, listen. I have to be frustrated because Arsenal and Man United are like twins, like siblings. Like it's like your younger brother who's come up, and after years of bantering him, he's now taller than you and got bigger muscles, brother. It's not you're not happy about that, fam. You're not. Like I am accepting what could happen. I'm doing it from now. Yeah, a lot of people are saying they're not gonna do it. They can't win it. I believe they can. I believed that Man City would just be better in 38 games. But after seeing today and the accumulation of what's been happening recently with Man City, I can't confidently say that, 100% Man City will still be better. So Arsenal can win the league. It is possible. And the Arsenal judge is the strongest I've ever seen it, because I used to say whenever you used to doubt Arsenal so much that for some reason they'll find a way to come through because the underdog powers will come through. This is the ultimate underdog situation now. No one believes Arsenal will win the league. No one will believes that they will make it through after the World Cup. So they've got everything now. They've got nothing to lose, because if Arsenal don't win the league, it don't affect anything. It don't change anything. Like they've got top 4, which they wanted to get in the first place. They weren't expected to be in this position, and so if anything else is a bonus. And these young players are hungry. Jesus is hungry to prove a point. You know what I mean? Zinchenko is hungry to prove a point. Saliba hungry to prove a point. Saka. So many players at Arsenal have a point to prove because people doubt them so much. And I have to sit here and say, you know what? Yeah, it's very possible that Arsenal could win the league, and I have to accept that as a rival fan. Yeah, and get over it. And Fergie has done some sinister, dirty deals to keep that 3-peat and the trophy count. That's all I'm gonna say in it. That has to be it. Well, that has to be it.
This is the thing that for me. Here says Arsenal fear complex. Terry has to patent that, unless Terry's trying to cast that HH curse. No, listen, a lot of people think it's like I'm trying to like apply pressure to Arsenal, like Arsenal and Arteta are watching me. Like I'm not doing that. We just got to call it as it is. And I didn't see a title race at the start of the season. I said they would become title challengers this season, but it was most likely develop into a team that could challenge next year. The irony is I've called how good Arsenal are going to be, but the level they've gone to, and look, City, and one that was really interesting. If Arsenal win today, they'll be on 37 points. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No team has ever had 37 points after 14 games and not won the league. No team has ever had 37 points after 14 games, been 5-point clear, and not won the league ever in the history of top flight football. So the point is, if you bet against Arsenal now, you're essentially saying, I believe the biggest collapse ever in terms of title race history is going to happen. That's essentially what you said. And I don't believe it is. I don't believe this Arsenal team can have that happen. Liverpool have gone 1-0 up, by the way, against Southampton, as we thought they would. We're going to get V on in a minute. A City fan V. He's kind of, actually, I'm going to get him on now because he's walking around his room. He looks frustrated. You're right, V? What happened?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
What happened?
Lots happened, man. Lots happened. I think, first of all, Brentford, fantastic performance. They were organized. They knew how they wanted to deal with Holland. And I got to admit, they took their chances and they made them stick, which we didn't. The fact that we are doing those crosses and looking for Holland, I'm not against that. I think you got to put the defense on alert. You got to have them worry about Holland all the time. But they were excellent in clearing that ball. It wasn't falling to our foot not once to really create a chance off of a clearance. And a few players were off. Are they thinking about the World Cup? I'm not putting it as an excuse, but they have to be. We've seen other players, other clubs thinking about the World Cup. It didn't look like a typical City performance, but I'm not taking anything away from Brentford. They were bang on ready to play against us.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think you're absolutely spot on in relation to what you in terms of what you say there. Are you frustrated with the lack of intensity? Are you frustrated with the fact that you could be 5 points behind now? You know, a lot of people blaming Pep. Substitutions not early enough. He got it wrong today. Like, what's your take on Pep's performance in this?
So, I mean, obviously I have no right to question Pep, but I do question him. The man made one sub. And you could see what Brentford were doing in the later stages of the game. They actually used all five. And the result in that last goal to actually secure the game was because they had fresh legs, they countered us and they were running past every City player. So, I mean, I do have to question Pep on what he was doing in the later stages of the game. His starting 11, you know what? I have my problems with Gundo and KDB in that midfield, I think Silva's wasted on that wing. But I expect you to make the changes throughout the game, Pep. You know, we're home. We don't want to close out this last run before going to the World Cup with a loss. So I wasn't happy with the changes. I'm not frustrated with we should be 5 points or we should be ahead because again, this is the EPL, man. This may sound cliche, but no game is given. That's why I love this league.
Yeah,
so
but this is what people say about City fans. This is why you don't win the UCL, bro. Because there's never
this
any
has nothing
pressure.
to do with the UCL. This is the EPL. We're talking. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
go
but
ahead.
let me finish because how are you saying as I'm not frustrated that we didn't win, bruv? It's Brentford at home. You're behind in the league, 1-1, by the way.
1-1.
Jay Adams, hey, come on. But you're behind in the league where your biggest competitor from last season is off. And you've now let a new team overtake you right now. That you should be. I think you should be more frustrated than you are.
Do you know?
There's no Arsenal in fantastic form. Like the frustration can't be with us to match their form because I think maybe you or Terry said it earlier. The points that they have at this point in the season, it's resulted in actually winning the league for previous years. So they're in great form. I'm not going to be frustrated to be like we should be matching that, right? I understand
because that's what you guys do. It's not like you're not capable.
No, we're not capable, but to also know that we continue to be informed. This is a long season. That's where again, as a City fan, that's where the calmness is. Like wrongfully or rightfully, that's where the calmness is. I know that we will continue this marathon, but I do disagree with what Pep's doing.
Is that Somerville? Oh, Kaz called it. Kaz called it right. Wow. Leeds go up 1-0 against Spurs. Somerville with the goal. Flip me. What a start to the Premier League 3 o'clock game we've had.
Did Terry knock the light down or was he dancing with the light? What was going on?
Tottenham losing.
Yeah, 1-0 to Leeds right now.
If I was a City fan, I'd be frustrated with Pep today as well because I was looking at it when that board went up for 10 minutes added on. I see Mahrez on the bench. I see Jack Grealish on the bench. It was very congested in the centre of the pitch. You have to get it out wide, surely. So in that instance, surely you have to bring on Mahrez or Jack Grealish and try and put crosses in the box and try and test the Brentford defence a little bit more because it's quite clear that you can't go through the middle of them. I mean, look at the De Bruyne dive and the Cancelo dive. They was trying literally everything today because they just physically couldn't get by them. Brentford would just defended their box that well. So you have to get it out wide, surely.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes no sense to me.
And that's what I said with regards to subs. Pep should have done something differently, 100%. And especially when you see Brentford put on fresh legs and put on a change to attack us. Now, Brentford's defense, the height in that middle, they neutralized what we were trying to do with Holland. Holland was frustrated that game. You could see it, and not only that, I understand whether it's our box, their box, you're going to be clinching, you're going to be fighting for position. I'm not going to be mad at the players and how they defend. Holland went down easy in some instances, in my point, because of the frustration being there, and he's going to be defended like that moving forward. I want this team. I want City to be prepared to expect this from every damn team, right? No team is going to outpossession us. No team is going to outpass us. So when we know that that's the defense coming up against us, we need to have that game plan, because we're going to be facing that, to KJ's point, in the UCL. Teams are going to be playing us like this in the UCL. We need to be ready for it.
Just want to say very quickly to a lot of people, I am not a gooner because Spurs are losing.
Terry, just admit it, mate.
Whoa,
You're
whoa,
dancing around.
I want Spurs to lose, because if they lose and we win, we go level on points with them with the game in hand. I'm celebrating for Man United. Like, it's nothing to do with Arsenal. I'm celebrating because I want to overtake them in the league. Who would?
Liar.
Yeah, don't tell everyone, bro. Stop telling everybody. V, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Top man. Thank you. Chris is with us. Chris is a City fan as well. What are you saying, Chris?
Oh my God, Terry. Oh my God. 100 minutes. 100 minutes and one sub. Like, please. Like, this is the same thing that happened against Liverpool. 100 minutes and one sub. What is Pep doing? I want to point out something real quick. And it's about the Manchester United game. We're 6-1 up. And he makes 4 substitutions in the same minute. Why can you not make subs over the course of a 100-minute game against Brentford when you're tied 1-1? It's obvious by that last-minute goal that Brentford scored today that we needed fresh legs. Everyone was getting burnt on that counterattack, and they scored because of it. Brilliant job from Brentford today. Brilliant job. I have to give it to him. But Pep absolutely did not have it today. This loss is 100% on Pep. It is not on the players. If you're playing 100 minutes, you need to make subs.
Mm-hmm. I completely and utterly agree with you. And do you know what? It's nice to find a passionate City fan online. It's good to hear some oomph, some fire, some love in your belly. That's what it is. I always say this to people. If you're watching your team play and you play badly and you lose and you're not angry, you either don't really support that club or you're a casual football fan that watches it for nothing other than light entertainment. Basically, like, I don't get annoyed at EastEnders because it's not real. That's what football fans that don't get angry to me are. Like, there's a fakeness to it, if that makes sense. But listen, I hear you 100%, and I think a lot of people would put it on your manager. Chris, great call, my friend. Thanks for coming on and having your say. Appreciate it, mate. Top man. It's nice to hear a bit of passion. We've got some super chats here. I'm not bothered for City no more. I am barricaded for Arsenal. What does that mean?
I think he's bracing himself.
Yeah, I know what. Right, yeah, I know what barricaded means. I just don't know it in that context. Yeah. But yeah, cool. Thank you, Brian. Terry, this is the most points City has ever had by November. It's okay. Sorry, it's okay. League is a marathon, not a race. But this was an L to Pep's band. This is the most points they've ever had in November. You got to remember with that is though that it's a concertinaed season, so you wouldn't normally be. Oh, how did they not score there, Liverpool? What a save! Oh wow! Like, there's normally not. We're the 12th of November. We're ahead. We started the season earlier, so I'm not taking it away from. I'm not taking it away from City. But if you go back to, I'm going to look at this now as a point of view. We go to last season as an example. I was waiting for my screen to load here and go to last season's. Cheers, bro. We go to last season's league table and go to 14 games. Man City had 32 points. So they had the same amount of points after 30 after 14 games last season. There's no doubt. And Chelsea actually had 33, but that wasn't until. And how can we work this out? So that was on the 1st of. So they played their 14th game on the 1st of December. So they're just like 2.5 weeks ahead because the season started early. So I do get your point that they've never had this many points in November, but you normally haven't played this many games at this point as well. So I think that you need to look at that statistic kind of carefully, if that makes sense. Terry is definitely an undercover gooner. KJ, who would you rather win the league, City or Arsenal?
You know what? Yeah, I'll just say what my issue is with Arsenal winning the league. It's not even actually Arsenal. The Arsenal Football Club can. I'd rather Arsenal Football Club win the league than Man City to protect our legacies. All of that. It's just the Arsenal fans I'm not ready for, man. I can't deal with it. The fan base. Imagine Igal on this channel if they win the league. Yeah.
I think the issue with someone like I will have with Igal is that Igal's one of those people that when Arsenal were good, he thinks it makes his football knowledge better. Like, I can say what I want about football now because you get some Liverpool fans were like that. Louis like that as a Liverpool fan. Because my team's good, that means my football opinion is worth more than yours. But that's just because Igal is what Igal is. So I hear you on that side. That will be hard. But protecting my club's legacy, for me, is far more important.
As I said, Terry, Fergie did some sinister, dark deals to keep that 3P and the trophy count.
And I get you're being kind of funny with that, but I look at it the other way. I think it demonstrates. I mean, City might still win the league. Let's have that right, but it shows how hard that is. Which is why if City don't do a 3-peat this year, it shows that winning back to back is harder than getting 100 points, harder than getting mid to high 90. That's why I said to people, these points totals are good, but don't disrespect the great teams of the past that didn't. By the way, didn't just win 3 back to back. In the 2 occasions where he won 3 back to back, there was also a Premier League, Champions League double.
Oh, Emerson Royale, you were so.
Oh wow, he should have scored.
Wow.
How confident are you about City versus Liverpool in the cup? That's going to be a weird game because it's so close to after the World Cup, but it's actually a competitive game because of who the two teams. That's a bad miss because of who the two teams are. When are people going to start saying City needed to chase down Arsenal instead of everyone ignoring we are still top after the top 6, each top 6 hurdle? Well, they do. If you win today, they have to chase you down, and that 5 points is massive because it means because Arsenal are not showing any signs of dropping points, and I think it's a bigger indication, Gunner Down Under, that what your club needs to do in January is buy more just to give you those extra weapons. Like if you've got a 5-point lead, Arsenal fans shouldn't rest on their laurels and say, we've got a 5-point lead. Maybe we don't need to buy more. This is even bigger reason because you want to make that gap 6, 7, 8, 9 points. Arsenal could really do this. Is Haaland a bottleneck sometimes? Yes.
A bottleneck or a bottle job?
No, bottleneck is in the play.
The play just has to be.
Yeah, I think he can be, and that isn't a Haaland issue. That's a Pep and Man City issue. Haaland is what Haaland is. You know, you have to adapt your style with a player like him in your team. Martin, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. I riled up City fans on Twitter. Go on, Marcel. You meant to.
Good for you, mate.
Just need to win tonight and have that 5-point clear at the top. Yes, you do, my friend. No matter what happened, Arsenal are staying on top going into the World Cup. Come on, you Gooners. Oh, my God, they're in again, Leeds. Oh, some of them should have scored as well.
That second touch,
oh, they were so close there, Leeds, again, 2-0 up.
Oh, that second
Conte out pending. Oh, my days.
Oh, Somerville, bro, that touch.
Bro. Oh, it was so close. So close. If Arsenal win the Prem, blame Pep for creating us. Yeah.
There was you see that interview that he had with someone. He was like, they're like, oh, you've created a monster in Arteta. He was like, no. He was a monster before me. You know what I mean? He was already a monster. So yeah, man, look what you've done. He has only himself to blame for losing the league to Arteta.
No, I hear you completely. Super chat here says, Terry, I meant the number of games when I said November. Yeah, no, I hear you. I think City have had. Again, let's go back and look at some other title winning years. Back in 2001, after 14 games, let's see how many points they had. I don't even know. I mean, I've never checked these things before. Yeah, I mean, back in 2001, yeah, they were really poor at this start. They were on 23 points after 14 games. Crazy that year. Let's go back to the Centurion season. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just intrigued to know what do they have after 14 games that year. Sorry, it takes so long to load the Premier League website sometimes.
Oh, Liverpool 2-1.
2-1. Darwin Núñez has scored. I went for 2-2 in that game. It's on still.
Hey, listen, for what Darwin Núñez is.
Sorry, bro. After 14 games in the Centurion season, they had 40 points. So I'm just stating that I didn't think your stat was correct. In any capacity. So last season they had this many points, and in the Centurion season they had 40 points at this stage. So they were much better that year. And in the season where they got 98 points, they had. Let's have a little wait for this to load again, my friend. Sorry. They had 38 points. Yeah, so they've had in the last 5 years, they've had the same or more points than this at least 3 times, bruv. So yeah, it's still a massive points totals that you've got, but they have had better years than this. There's no doubt. They have had better years than this, I think. But there we go. Listen, people, we will be back after the Liverpool and Tottenham games. We will be live after the Chelsea game. We'll be live after the Arsenal game. It's a busy day on the terrace today. Make sure you all come back and support us for those match reactions as well. I've got to go and watch these games more intently now because I've got to call them. I've got to speak about them. I've got to see what's going on. Please make sure you smash the like button before you leave. Please make sure you subscribe to the Football Terrace. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very